Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a wise old man who was known to be the best storyteller in the kingdom. The villagers would gather around him every evening to hear his amusing tales and inspiring parables. One day, the old man decided to tell his most famous, funny story about a farmer and his stubborn donkey. The farmer had a donkey who was so stubborn that he refused to move, even when the farmer tried everything to make him. One day, the farmer decided to trick the donkey into thinking he was carrying a heavy load of hay. He put an empty basket on the donkey's back, and the donkey, thinking it was carrying a heavy load, moved with ease. The villagers laughed heartily at the story, but one man in particular found it hilarious. He was a mischievous jester named John, who loved to play practical jokes on people. He was so amused by the farmer's trick on the stubborn donkey that he decided to play the same trick on the old man. The next day, John went to the wise old man's house and asked him to recount the story of the farmer and his stubborn donkey. As the old man began telling the story, John put an empty basket on his back and pretended to be struggling to carry the weight. The old man was confused by the jester's behavior, but continued with the story nonetheless. He told the witty punchline about how the stubborn donkey was tricked into thinking he was carrying a heavy load, and the villagers burst into laughter. John, pleased with his prank, revealed his trick to the old man, and the villagers laughed even harder. The old man, though initially annoyed, couldn't help but chuckle at the jester's clever trick. From that day on, the old man would always remember the time he was tricked by the jester and his donkey basket, and the villagers would retell the story with even more laughter and amusement. As for the mischievous jester, John, he continued to play pranks on the villagers, but he made sure never to use the old man's story again. Instead, he came up with new, even more outrageous pranks that kept the villagers laughing for hours. Years went by, and the old man passed away, but his famous story lived on. It was told and retold, with new twists and embellishments added by each storyteller. The villagers would never forget the wise old man who could always make them laugh, and his legacy continued to bring joy to generations. And as for the stubborn donkey, he may never have known he was carrying an empty basket all along, but in his own way, he brought a little humor and levity to the lives of everyone who heard the story. If you like the story, show us your support.